Hello, good afternoon and welcome along to the Pertamina Mandalika International Street Circuit in Indonesia, where we're halfway through the opening day of the three-day test as MotoGP returns to Indonesia for the first time in a quarter of a century. It's been a stop-start morning as the riders get accustomed to track conditions, and with rain overnight causing a few issues as well. We'll touch on that in a moment. Jack Appleyard, Simon Crafar, and we're pleased to say we're joined by a very special guest in Joan crew chief, Frankie Carchedi. Frankie, great to have you with us. First of all, from a team, a rider's perspective, can you just explain exactly what happened this morning and why we saw the delay that we did?
Yeah, thanks. Well, it was really tricky. Sort of expected that the weather conditions and the track conditions weren't going to be great. It always is with a new surface. And then, of course, it's almost the worst situation. It rains, a bit more dirt comes on. So I think what everyone did was a couple of exits just to get a bit of information. And some have gone out now, some are waiting just till the track improves, basically.
As we said, we saw an hour and 40 delay. The rain that came down brought with it a bit of dirt. We've been out, we've cleaned the track. It now looks like it's a bit of a case of every rider's looking at each other to be the first one to go out and just clean it that bit further. At the moment, obviously, the fact that you're stood here means that Joan's not one of them at the moment.
No, the honest truth is they also need to eat and have a break. So it was right, we either do a couple of exits, stop and then go again, or we'll just have one hit in the afternoon and just 2 o'clock basically. We'll go from 2 till the end at 5:45.
And Simon, we touched in our preview that we did yesterday on MotoGP's YouTube about the challenges for a rider, which are obvious, but then for engineers and crew chiefs in particular, there's similar challenges, maybe a few more as well.
Well, what I've seen, I've got to say I feel sorry for, there's the riders, the teams, including engineers, that are desperate for data. And then there's Michelin, who's also desperate for data. Riders adapt quickly. I think Frankie will back me up on this. Riders adapt quick. They've been training all winter. If they get the same sort of practice time as each other, they're going to slot in quick. The ones I feel sorry for are the rookies. They're like thrown in the deep end with these amazing teams and riders to compete against, and they're losing their track time. I got to feel mainly sorry for the rookies, because they've got to figure out how to ride these beasts. Then when it comes to engineers and teams, I spoke to a few, and they've said they are desperate. They use the word desperate for data, because you've got new parts you need to get that data on and compare it on similar track conditions and tyres, and they're getting nothing. The engineers that have designed it are sitting there going, we're doing nothing, and we've got so little time before we go racing, we need it. And then finally Michelin, I had a good sit down with Piero Taramasso, and he said, first day at a new track, they have no data here. They have to come with the right tyres for the race. That's what they're doing here, trying to figure them out. And I saw them going around yesterday with a box measuring the macro, micro, big little stones on the track. They do a simulation and figure out, he said they've come up with, it's going to be very hard on the rear tyre here. Very hard, because there's long, leaned over accelerating areas. And he said, but first day at a brand new track is always pretty much in the rubbish, because the riders aren't quite up to speed and the track is green. Second day you start to get some data. The third day is what we base on what we bring the tyres here for.
And Frankie, from Suzuki's perspective and Joan's perspective, do you agree with what Simon said in terms of how the track is going to cope come race day and the challenges of the test you have here over the 3 days?
To pretty much confirm what Simon says with the rookies, it's a nightmare, because the conditions are different, probably from exit to exit, and they don't know what a MotoGP bike should feel. So, we're lacking grip, or is it the surface? I think the more experienced riders, they know what feeling they're looking for, and it's a little bit easier. And the other thing is, you want to develop your bike, you might change something, go out 15 minutes later and it's better, but is it because the surface has changed, the grip level's changed, or is it the part? So to be honest, we worked extremely hard in Sepang. I think both our riders probably 2 in the top 3 of the amount of laps on both days. For that reason, we knew it was going to be difficult here, and we really concentrated on trying to preserve the tyres a little bit, and then when we were changing or testing parts, being able to go out with the same conditions, and that's how you sort of go forward. Here I think it's going to be so difficult if you try a new part. Of course we'll try, but you have to be very cautious.
Because Suzuki are not the only factory coming into this test. We've only having had 2 days in Sepang that need valuable track time to be able to work out their 2022 package. There are still decisions to be made across the grid. So how much of a challenge is that at a circuit that you have no prior data at?
It is. I mean, I can say on our side with Joan, the last 2 or 3 rounds, I think you picked up a few things that were quite different with the bike, and when it wasn't mathematically possible to win the championship, we actually did try some really big things. You can see the last 2 races we qualified, we made quite a big step for us. So our testing almost sort of started there, and it's just a continuation really, just confirming stuff, a few more, new parts from Suzuki, which fingers crossed are looking good.
I'd like to throw one in there then, Frankie, now that you've done all that testing in there, is we've seen all the manufacturers make a step, only from my opinion, I can't see Yamaha's step. I'm sorry for them, but and especially Fabio, but I can't see their step visibly. Looks like everyone else has made a step. Sahara-san told me he believes that they've made a significant, significant step with the engine. Happy, still other things to try. What's your opinion? Have you made a step and believe you'll be competitive against the opposition?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, until the lights go down, and even Qatar's so difficult to really understand. It's quite a unique track, but we're small but very tight factory. We work well together, and absolutely, probably Sahara's mentioned the COVID was quite difficult for us in developing, so it's given us an opportunity on certain areas that we didn't quite have enough or needed more, and I think so far we've been able to make a significant improvement to where we were last year.
Awesome news.
And just looking at what other riders have said as well, Frankie, Fabio, Mark, Pecco, the lead riders for the 3 challenging factories, all pinpointed Suzuki and Joan and Alex as having made the biggest step and the biggest surprise step as well to really bring themselves at the forefront of the championship picture. Do you see it that way?
That's super difficult. It's it's like, my friend goes to bed at 10 o'clock and I'm at 9 o'clock, and there's always something that someone else has got, or I don't think there's any rider anywhere that hasn't pinpointed something that another manufacturer has, or they'll never say, oh, we've got this and no one else has got that. It's what you haven't got. But no, they're both riders are happy at where we are at the moment.
In terms of what you haven't got, Alex Rins told us about the step forward that Suzuki have made with their whole shot device, but it's still not at the level of some of the competitors as well. How much of an impact do you think that will have throughout the opening rounds of the year, not being on the same level as the likes of Ducati, of course, who are the innovators, but also KTM, Honda as well?
Don't get Frankie in trouble, Jack.
No, I think it's pretty obvious to everyone. We were quite late, or one of the last, not late, we've had less time. Okay, thanks, Alex. We've had less time, but I would say also to be able to use it and at the speed we're developing is also quite significant. So yeah, it's not the finished article. I'm not going to tell lies. There's still margin, but there's margin with everything, as you know. So you've just got to take each step, as long as we're going in the right direction, which we are. And when I'm sure the next step again will make a significant improvement.
Well, Frankie, thank you for joining us. I appreciate your time. Good luck for the rest of the test here in Mandalika, and good luck for the season as well. Let's hope that we see you celebrating in Valencia like we did in 2020.
Thanks.
Thank
Top
you.
man, Frankie. Thank you for your time.
So we'll wrap up, myself and Simon, just quickly and let you know if you want you can exit, let you get back to work. We've got about a minute, so let's just bring everyone up to speed with After the Flag this evening, because with the delay we've had a bit of a schedule change. We did tell you on the preview yesterday that After the Flag will be live on MotoGP.com from 4:30 local time here. That's been pushed back 45 minutes, so we'll now be live from 5:15 here in Mandalika. That's 10:15 in Europe, 9:15 in the UK, and you can adjust from there wherever you're watching around the world. Again, it'll be Matt Burton, Lewis Sotheby in the studio, myself and Simon here in Indonesia, and there's going to be plenty to talk about, not only getting riders' first feelings.
Well, yeah, by then, hopefully, like literally now, it's dry, but it's dusty. And I've seen the front tyres still having like 15 mil on the side, at least a centimetre. That these guys don't leave anything out there. So they haven't got the grip to lean over fully yet. And by the time we come back and report to you, we'll have their first impressions, and for sure they'll be cranking it over. The track should be clean enough.
Absolutely, it's going to be a process during this first day. We knew it was going to be like this. First day at a new venue. The last time anyone was here was World Superbikes in November, so unsurprising that it's been a bit of a stop-start day as riders get accustomed to the circuit here. A brilliant facility nevertheless. They got it sorted in just over an hour and a half, which is fantastic work from all the marshals here, and it means we're going to pretty much get nearly a full day's riding, only 45 minutes lost, which in the grand scheme of things is pretty good, Simon. So as I said, join us later on After the Flag at 5:15 local time, where we'll bring you right up to speed with all the news, all the views after the first day of testing here in Mandalika. We'll see you then.